What's up? Assalamu alaikum. Hope you're having a good weekend. Hope you had a good week. This is me assuming you're listening on Saturday, which is the day I'm recording it. So yeah. Usually I would record these episodes ahead, but I've sort of gotten into a habit of recording them on the day. Bad habit, because any Saturday I'm not free. I won't have time. But I'm enjoying this informal style of, not editing the podcast or not really editing the podcasts, and no super long intros or anything. So yeah, cool. Okay, this is already a super long intro. But yeah, I hope you're enjoying it as well. And well, I'm not getting as many listens as I normally would because, well, I'm really not putting the podcast out there. I'm just recording these episodes. So I don't know, maybe in the future, more people will find them and we'll get as many listens as we used to. Because I don't have time to share a lot. I remember when I first started, I used to go into people's DMs and literally share the podcast and say, hey, listen to my podcast. I used to share it through WhatsApp. I used to send people, broadcast messages and everything. I'm like, I can't be sending people random broadcast messages anymore. But yeah, whatever. Where were we? Okay, we're still doing the intro. So today, this morning, the question that was on my mind for whatever reason was, when I was in Enugu, did I think I was going to marry an Igbo guy? It definitely crossed my mind. But I thought there was going to be a slim chance of that happening because, I was definitely going to marry a Muslim. Early on, especially when I started learning a lot more about Islam, I knew that, marrying a non-Muslim was out of the question. Not only is it not allowed in Islam, but I wasn't keen on having the extra wahala of, parents having, two different religions. I imagined that marriage was a lot in the first place. And then you now bring up the whole thing of, my dad is Christian and he wants me to go to church. And my mom is Muslim and she wants me to be a Muslim. And I don't know, I just wanted to avoid, all that wahala. So I'm like, Igbo guys, nah. Unless, of course, he's a Muslim. So I know that a lot of people, especially for those who are not Muslim, will probably be thinking, but why is it not allowed? Yada, yada, yada. Okay, so it's pretty simple. The man is the head of the family, right? And Islam, Islam wants to preserve Islam, basically. God wants the religion to, spread, or wants us to spread the religion. And having, a father who's non-Muslim, it's tricky because, if he decides that, all the children are going to church, what's the woman going to do about it? Because she has to listen to her husband, right? Well, the way it's set up Islamically. And then it's even tricky again because, if she's not married to a non-Muslim, then does she have the same obligations that she would normally have to a Muslim husband? I don't know. I'm not a scholar or anything, so I may not have the right answer to those questions. But just thinking about it logically, I think it's just a lot less stress, especially if you're a practicing Muslim woman. It's a lot less stress, if you just marry a Muslim man. Yeah, that's what I think. However, I don't know of a family where the mom is Muslim, the dad is Christian. It has always been like that. All of the children are Muslim, all of them, which is amazing. But I also know about other interreligious families where whether the man is Muslim and the woman is Christian or vice versa, and all of the children decided to become Christians, and in some cases, you have a combination. Some are Christian, some are Muslim, Yeah. And the reason why a lot of people tend to ask why, a Muslim woman shouldn't, or why it's not allowed in Islam for a Muslim woman to marry a Christian man is they're coming from the angle of, oh, but a Muslim man can marry a Christian woman. It doesn't sound fair. But then again, going back to the fact that the man is the head of the house. But of course, that doesn't always matter because, at the end of the day, if the children decide they're going to go with their mom to church, what are you going to do about that? So even though it's allowed for a Muslim man to marry a Christian woman, a lot of us are not exactly fans of that, especially because sometimes it can just get really tricky, and there's always the risk of the kids, deciding to be Christian. And the next thing is people are going to ask me, oh, are you saying that it's bad to be Christian? Did I say that? I didn't say that. I'm just saying I would rather be Muslim. And I would rather my kids be Muslim. But somehow, there was a time in my life where I wanted to marry a foreigner. And if not a foreigner, at least someone who was into Yoruba. And, it wasn't like, oh, it's a serious thing. I'm going to start chasing foreigners or non-Yoruba men. But it was just something that, caught my fancy. I was like, oh, someday when I'm ready to get married, I want to marry a foreigner. And why did I think that? I don't know. I think for some reason it just seemed like it was going to be... I don't want to use this word, but I can't think of another word. The word that comes to mind is exotic. I don't know. It's so weird. Maybe because I was exposed to other cultures apart from the culture that I'm originally from. I just wanted to see more, learn more, immerse myself more in a different culture, something that was completely new to me. I don't know. Maybe that was it, because it's not like, I don't think it was that I found foreign men attractive or anything like that. I don't think that was it. But yeah, and as God will have it, I married someone who is from Oyo State, which is also the same state that my dad is from. So yeah, it's weird. But then, even though we're both from Oyo State, when we got married, it felt like we were from two completely different cultures. And that's sort of what it is, because he is from a very traditional Yoruba family. So, so it's like I was now learning and relearning about Yoruba tradition and how a lot of Yoruba families really are. Because, in my family, we're yes, we're Yoruba. My mom speaks Yoruba. She speaks Yoruba with the aunties and the uncles. We spoke a lot of English at home. But we didn't have a lot of the Yoruba-ness in us. In fact, we didn't grow up kneeling and dobaleing and all that. It was later in my childhood that we started kneeling and dobaleing, and it was a conscious thing, you guys are Yoruba children. You need to learn how to be proper and all that. Which is great. Yoruba culture is pretty interesting. Has a lot of good, in the culture. There's some parts I'm not crazy about, but yeah. But that's the thing about culture. You take the good stuff and you leave the bad stuff. Same with pretty much every other thing. Take the good and leave the bad. So thinking about my experience being married as, let me say, Yoruba Igbo Muslimah, an Igbo girl by naturalization, to a core Yoruba man. It was, I don't know if I should say it was challenging, but, yeah, maybe a little challenging at first. I mean, my husband has been very supportive all the way, very understanding, so he would take his time to explain things to me that, oh, this is how we do things, or you do this at this time and do that at that time. You should do it this way and do it that way and all that stuff. And I'm like, okay. It felt a bit like chaos at first, but, it got better with time. So, I mean, marrying into another culture, I didn't exactly marry. It's weird because you would assume that because I'm originally Yoruba, I'm very attuned to the Yoruba culture, but I'm not. I was not. So I'm still going to say marrying into a different culture. So for anyone who's marrying into a different culture or thinking about marrying into a different culture, I would say that you have to be very open-minded. You have to be willing to learn. Don't just go challenging everything. Oh, why should it be like this? Or why should it be like that? In my place is not like this. In my place is not like that. No, chillax, man. Chillax. Just learn and understand and go with the flow and learn. It could be pretty interesting. And one thing you also need to understand is that, yes, there's the wider culture attributed to the tribe, but there's also different families with their own different traditions, so all of those you need to respect. You really, really, really need to respect. And of course, one of the major things is food as well. There are things my husband grew up eating, I mean, we definitely didn't grow up eating the same things or eating the same way. So, I mean, I like to be very adventurous with food, so I'll cook like different soups. And when I'm talking about soups, I don't mean just Nigerian soups. So I'll cook these different soups or try new recipes, and then sometimes my husband would be like, oh, hope this one will not make me purge, or or what is this again? And of course, sometimes it's a hit, sometimes it's a miss. It's like, oh, I'm not eating that. Or he'll taste it and he doesn't like it. And then other times he would really like it. Yeah, so that's been interesting. Food's been an interesting journey. When we first got married, I was making a lot of Igbo soups because, guys, I gotta give it to the Igbo soups. I prefer them to Yoruba soups anytime, any day, except egusi, please, because Yoruba egusi is the king of all egusis. No need to argue with that one. You can't argue with yourself. Yeah, but I cook a lot of Igbo soups, and soups from the Calabar region as well. I think the soup I've eaten the most in this house is probably, I don't know why ofaku is coming to mind, but no ofaku. I think I made ofaku just once. Afang. Yeah, afang is probably our favorite soup in this house, or at least the one we've eaten the most. It's been a while since I made it, actually. But yeah, a lot of afang. I think I did ofilere a few times. I don't think I've ever made oha. I don't know, I'm not too crazy about oha. Oha is nice, but I'll take afang any day over oha. So yeah, I mean, I make okpa every now and again. There's a time we're almost always eating abacha. So yeah, and I mean, as for Yoruba food, I don't like amala. My people are supposed to like amala. Ibadan people are supposed to like amala, but I don't like it, so I don't cook it. I don't buy elubo. The one time that we had elubo, my mom brought it. I think just stayed at the house for like a year or something. I probably made it like maybe once or twice, and that was it. So yeah, I like ewedu sha. I like ewedu. I like bagiri. I like okra. And yeah, I was also very eager to try Hausa dishes, and so far my two favorite Hausa dishes are masa and danwake. So, in fact, that masa thing, it deserves an entire episode because the first time I ever attempted to make masa, I was back in Enugu. I was like, oh, this Hausa dish, let's try it, and it was just a freaking disaster. Messed up. And then when I got married, I started trying to make masa, and for like the first, I don't know, 20 times I made it. Okay, probably not up to 20 times, yeah, but like the first couple of times I made it, it was just different feels. Sometimes it would be too hard, sometimes it would be too soft, sometimes the rice wouldn't be properly blended. And there was one I made and the masa turned out to be green and almost acidic. And I was wondering, what the heck did I do that made it like this? But with consistency and my refusal to give up, I eventually cracked it. And now, like, I don't need to look at any recipe to make my masa. And my masa is great, like pretty much every time. And at first, we just used to eat it with yaji or like chicken or something. But now we eat it with soup a lot because the soup was also something I had to learn and figure out, and just figure out how I like it and how my husband likes it and all that. So yeah, masa, great. In fact, I try to have masa at least once a week. And I figured out a way to make it easy for me to make. Then recently, I discovered danwake. Guys, so I've been seeing danwake for a while. Came across it online sometime. And let me just start by saying that danwake doesn't look great, right? It looks like little amala balls. Which is what my husband always says. And I say, oh, danwake. I mean, he doesn't like it. The first time I made it, I did it with like a stir-fry beef thing with vegetables. And I just had to make it like that because every time I see it elsewhere, I mean, people always just maybe eat it with pepper and onions or sprinkle yaji on it. How some people like yaji? Guys, like I don't know, it's everything. And I thought that was just really boring, So I just decided to do the stir-fry thing. I think I saw the recipe on YouTube. I don't remember the channel right now. But anyways, and then I put a little bit of a yogurt thing in there, and it was really nice. And I know it was really nice because I gave it to my sister-in-law who had been eating danwake for a very long time. And she said that was the best danwake she's ever had. For real. So yeah, and then once in a while I just find myself craving it. Unfortunately, my husband doesn't like it, but my daughter likes it. So yeah, we eat it together. Yeah, I didn't know that this podcast will lead us into food, but that's how these things go sometimes when you're spontaneous. But yeah, and if you're wondering what danwake is, it's a bean dumpling. So it comes in form of a flour. There's beans in it. I think there is coca in it as well, coca powder. If one of the reasons I was also thinking about, I really wanted to add it into our diets was, because it's healthy. It's not just carbs. There's the beans in it and the coca and all of that stuff. Yeah, that's about it. I think this is a good place to stop this weekend. If you have listened so far to this, thank you so much. You're a real G. You're the one I'm making this podcast for. Because at this point, this podcast is just like 20 minutes to 30 minutes gist. It's just me and my mic right now in this space. And for you, it's from me into your ears. I think that's just cool. Let me know if there's anything in this podcast that you found interesting or that you'd like to comment about. You can shoot me a DM on Instagram. My Instagram handle is at Korede. And I'm working on a feature film with a lead Muslim character, which is something I'm really eager to do. If you'd like to stay updated on how that's going, go over to my Instagram, click the link in the bio, and you'll find a link to join that email list. So yeah, I think this is a good place to stop. Thank you so much again for listening. Have a lovely weekend or a week, depending on when you are listening, and be adventurous with food. Ciao.